Hello, Periscope. Happy Friday. How are you guys doing tonight? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Tara. How are you doing? I'm about to switch my camera over. Hi, how are you doing tonight? Hey, how are you? Thank you for joining in. I'll go ahead and wait a minute, see if anybody else joins in before I start the broadcast. I'm doing okay. I'm glad it's Friday. I am glad that it is Friday today. I'll wait a couple more seconds here, and then I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk about letting go of grudges and how to forgive someone that has hurt you, offended you, or maybe even you have perceived that has offended you, and how to let it go. Yes, I did. Thank you. I sure did. How does that work? Can you explain that to me? I'm still familiarizing myself with Periscope. When you turn on your location, what does that do? Oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. Okay. Okay, great. That's always a good thing. Good deal. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And for whoever is watching the replay, my name is Cassandra Austin, especially with catchy titles. Okay. Thank you for sharing that with me. Like I said, I'm still familiarizing myself with Periscope, so I'm still learning and open to suggestions and pointers and tips and whatnot. So I appreciate it. To those joining in and watching the replay, my name is Cassandra Austin. I am doing a healing series, and tonight's topic is on letting go of grudges. So I'll go ahead and get started. Before I start talking, I'm just going to point out that I'm going to be sharing some pointers and some passages out of Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements. Okay? This book was really instrumental in helping me look at forgiveness and letting go of hurts from others in a different perspective. Yes, it is a great book, particularly on the chapter about not taking things personally. And so I'll be focusing on a couple passages in there and talking about it some. But I'll go ahead and get started. So with forgiveness, my experiences were I would hold on to things for years. I held grudges for 10 and 20 years. The grudges started with family members, holding grudges against my family for abuse I endured growing up, holding grudges against people that I felt had hurt me. And over the years, it continued to progress from there. When I would have friendships with girlfriends and they pissed me off or they make me mad, I would hold a grudge against them. That was how I learned how to cope and deal with my pain, was by internalizing what they did or what I perceived them to do to me. And I took it very personally. I took offense to it and I held it inside. I was pretty much drinking their poison and holding it in and expecting them to die off of it, which was absolutely ridiculous now that I look back on it. But that's what I did for many years. And by holding that unforgiveness and harboring all that bitterness in my heart, I talked very horribly about those people. There were times where I wished death on my own father because I was so mad at him. I talked very poorly about my son's father. I had talked poorly about friends and siblings and things of that nature, because when they did something that hurt me, I would be so upset and take it so personally. that it was almost like I would hate them. And what this book really helped me to realize was that when they did something that hurt me or offended me, I was agreeing with them. And that was just a huge aha moment for me, because it meant that I did not truly value my own self-worth, and I did not truly have higher self-esteem and more confidence within myself that I thought I did. And at that time, when I read the book, I was actually past the phase of, I had already forgiven and healed from my childhood. I had forgiven my son's father. But I was actually going through a phase with a friend of mine where she, out of nowhere, had stopped talking to me. She didn't tell me why. She didn't tell me that I had did anything to upset her. And I was trying to make all these assumptions, and I was trying to figure it out, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was getting really upset about it. And when I read this book, it made me realize that that was not my issue, that I could not take on her issue and make it my own, because that's what was perpetuating the hurt. So I'll go ahead and share one of the passages in here that relates to that. He said, "Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Using an earlier example, if I see you on the street and I say, 'Hey, you are stupid,' without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe you are stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, 'How does he know? Is he clairvoyant? Or can everybody else see how stupid I am?'" So with that passage, basically what Ruiz is saying is that when someone says something about you and you get offended by it or you get upset by it, that you are agreeing with them. But when you value your self-worth and you know who you are, for instance, if someone came up to me and said, "Your hair is black," why would I get offended by that? My hair is obviously not black, it's red. But if I got offended by it, then that might show some insecurity on my part. That might show maybe I really do want my hair to be black. I'm upset that it's red. So I'm not upset at that person per se. I'm more so upset with my own insecurities. And so that passage was really enlightening for me. There's another part where he says, "You take it personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you, and you are trapped in the dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance." And that's like the example I gave earlier where I said it's for unforgiveness and bitterness and holding grudges against someone is like you drinking the poison and expecting the other person to die. When I would hold grudges and had bitterness in my heart and unforgiveness, I've had many sleepless nights. I would have nightmares about the situations or the person that I was upset with. I couldn't sleep. I didn't have peace. And so technically I was holding all of these negative thoughts and feelings about someone, hoping that it would have some type of negative effect on them, but really it was negatively affecting myself. It was affecting my peace. It was affecting my sleep. It was affecting how I treated myself and others. And so holding all of that unforgiveness and bitterness and grudge in my heart actually was not helping me at all. It was hurting me. So when I realized that, I realized I needed to get that junk out and I needed to let it go. What helped me get to the place of letting it go was learning how to look through their eyes. For example, my father was an abusive alcoholic. I hated him for many years because he was physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive toward myself and my mother. And I felt like he didn't love me as a father should. And it made me feel like my value was lessened, or there must have been something wrong with me because my own father treated me like crap and beat on me and all these other tumultuous experiences that I had. But when I got to the place where I truly wanted to forgive and let it go, I started looking at life through his eyes. And I said, okay, number one, he's an alcoholic, which means he's dependent on this substance every day to help him function or to make him feel alive or to drown his sorrows down the bottle. So I started thinking about that even more. I'm like, he must be miserable, because that's how he's choosing to live his life, to where the only way he knows how to deal with life is by drinking every day. And so it caused me to have some compassion toward my dad, because I'm like, you know what? I don't know what that feels like, to be so miserable, or to have experienced something in life that the only thing I know how to do is cope through drinking alcohol all day, every day. And then I started thinking about how when he beat on me or my mother, that he wasn't in his right mind, that he was drunk, he was under the influence. And yeah, I know a lot of people say, well, that's not an excuse, but these are the steps and measures I took personally to help me forgive and let go of the pain that I held on to for many years. And that really truly helped was by looking at life through my dad's eyes and seeing that he was not the person that a sane person or a person not under a substance may make those certain types of choices that he made. Thank you for the hearts, Tiara. And so by looking at life through his eyes and seeing that he made poor choices because of his own pain and because he was under the influence of alcohol all the time, I realized that he was hurt. And because he was hurting me. And it's like that saying that's been going around, hurt people hurt other people. And it is so true. When I really truly grasped that concept that my dad wasn't attacking me, there wasn't something wrong with me at all. He was hurt. He had his own stuff going on. And because of that, he was hurting me through his pain. When I finally was able to grasp that and hold on to that, I could let it go. And I have forgiven my dad. I don't hold any bitterness or grudges against him. I love him. I pray for him. And that's an example of how I was able to let that go. Another example is I was molested by an older cousin. And I was able to let that go because I thought about what happened to him. And I said, you know what? Somebody must have done something to him for him to do that to me. And by going and dissecting that and looking at life through his eyes, now I do not excuse his behavior. So don't mistake what I'm saying as I'm excusing their behavior. What I'm doing is taking steps to let go of that hatred that I was holding into my heart and letting go of that bitterness. And realizing that it wasn't a personal attack against me, that there's nothing wrong with me, that I didn't have to take it personally to the point where I devalued my own worth and I made myself feel like, oh, there's something wrong with me. That's why I was offended, or that's why I was abused, or that's why I was molested. I used to think it was because it was me. There was something wrong with me. But what I realized, it wasn't. It was something wrong with them. And I was the innocent bystander in the way. It could have been anybody else that got the same treatment. And because they had experienced their own issues, they were hurting someone else out of their hurt. And it's back to that saying again, that hurt people hurt other people. So going back to a passage in here, Ruiz says, if someone gives you an opinion and says, hey, you look so fat, don't take it personally, because the truth is that this person is dealing with his or her own feelings, beliefs, and opinions. That person tried to send poison to you. And if you take it personally, then you take that poison and it becomes yours. Taking things personally makes you easy prey for these predators, the black magicians. They can hook you easily with one little opinion and feed you whatever poison they want. And because you take it personally, you eat it up. And that right there, hey Tara, thanks for joining back in. That passage is another eye-opener for me as far as drinking poison and expecting it to hurt someone else. But in reverse, it's saying that that person tried to send poison to you. And if you take it personally, then you take that poison and it becomes yours. And how I interpret it, that is taking someone else's hurt that they tried to put on you and making it your own. And that's what I did for all those years. the abuse that I endured, the molestation that I experienced, being abandoned by my son's father, all those things, I was taking their hurt and I made it my own. And then I was walking around with these grudges and this bitterness and this unforgiveness in my heart. And when I realized that I was carrying other people's hurt, I realized I had to let it go, because I said, that's not mine. It doesn't belong to me. That's their hurt. And I'm going to give it back. I'm going to release it. I'm going to let it go, because it's holding me back in life. It's making me not be able to move forward in life. It's making me have peace, nights where I don't have peace, and sleepless nights, and not being able to have healthy and loving relationships. It's making it to the place where I didn't even love myself. I was a cutter. I survived a suicide attempt, was in the hospital after that. It was near fatal. And I was really hurting myself because of what someone else did to me. And what they did to me had nothing to do with me at all. Thank you for the hearts, Tiara. It had something to do with them. They were hurting. And because they were hurting, they hurt me. But where I did not realize, because I was young and I wasn't aware as I am now, was that I took on their hurt as my own. And I started to treat my own self like crap. I used to tell myself that I couldn't do something, or I would give up easily, or I would put on a facade that everything was looking good on the outside, but on the inside I was hurting inside. I wanted everybody to believe that I was okay, but I was dying inside. Thank you for the hearts. And when I finally got to the place of letting it go, it was like a burden had been lifted off of me. I can't even explain the weight that had been lifted off of me. All because I realized that their hurt and their pain, or as Miguel Ruiz describes it as, their poison, did not belong to me. I didn't want it anymore. And so I decided to let it go. So a couple of points here to help you let go of some hurt or pain, or to forgive someone or let go of a grudge is, number one, to not take it personally. By taking it personally, you are agreeing with them. Okay? If someone calls you stupid and you know you're not stupid, you shouldn't take it personally. You should not be offended by that, because you know within yourself that you are intelligent, right? So you shouldn't take that personally. That person is trying to project onto you how they truly feel about themselves. Another example could be like if one of your girlfriends saying, girl, that don't even look right on you. But really, she might be a little jealous because it looks real good on you, and she wished she looked good in that. You know, stuff like that. That is when you have to really pay attention. And you have to know within yourself who you are. Do you know who you are? How do you feel about yourself? Do you value yourself? Do you love yourself? If you have high self-worth and healthy self-esteem, and you have confidence in yourself and you love yourself, those types of comments and remarks should not bother you. You shouldn't take it personally. Another point, number 2, is to look at life through their eyes. Try to see why exactly they said or did what they did, because 9 times out of 10, it had nothing to do with you. They did whatever they did because of their own mess, because of their own pain, because of their own suffering. And hurt people hurt other people. They hurt you because they were hurting. And if you can truly wrap your mind around that, I guarantee you that it will help you get to a place of forgiveness and letting go of that grudge and that bitterness, because you will realize that all along it had nothing to do with you. For so long, I was so upset at my son's father for abandoning me with him. And I took it personally. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought it was me. And over the years, when I saw what type of mother I am, and I saw how nurturing I am, and I saw how much I love my son, and I saw how much I care about him, I realized that it wasn't me. It was because we were young, he was scared, and he wasn't ready to be a father. And when I was able to truly realize that, I was able to forgive him and think, you know what? It had nothing to do with me. He was dealing with his own burdens, his own demons, his own issues, and he had to face that. That was his journey. My journey was to forgive. And the third point, and the final step of helping you to let go, is to realize, like Ruiz said, the example in here is that when a person tries to send you poison, if you take it personally, now you're taking that poison and it becomes yours. Don't take someone else's pain. Don't accept it. It doesn't belong to you. Okay? You don't want to take on someone else's pain that's not yours, because now you're going to carry on a burden that does not even belong to you. That's like picking up a book bag and you're at school or you're at somebody's house and your book bag only had a couple of books in it. This other book bag had 20 books in it. You pick up the wrong bag, you got to walk a mile home, and it's so heavy. And it's so hard to get home because you're not used to carrying that load. You're used to only carrying your 2 books in your bag. Don't pick up the bag. It's not yours. Don't pick it up. Okay? So number 1, don't take it personally. Number 2, look at life through their eyes. And number 3, don't accept that hurt and pain as your own. Those are the 3 tips and pointers that I have for you guys in letting go of a grudge and bitterness and forgiving someone. I recommend that you read this book in its entirety. It's called The Four Agreements, and it's by Miguel Ruiz. And the 4 agreements that he has in here are: be impeccable with your word, and he talks about speaking with integrity and saying only what you mean. Don't take anything personally, and that's what we just discussed about nothing others do is because of you, and to not allow what someone else does affect you, as long as they're not, in your personal space. But don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. And the last agreement is to always do your best. And he talks about in this segment that your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. I thank you for your time. Tara, I thank you for joining in. Those of you that are watching the replay, I thank you. Please share this broadcast with your followers. Go ahead and follow me as I will continue moving forward with the healing series. If you have any topics that you would like for me to discuss, or you have any questions that you would like to ask me, feel free to contact me at CassandraAustin@BePrettyInside.com. That is CassandraAustin@BePrettyInside.com. Okay? I thank you guys. I pray you have a blessed night. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.